Questions and answers. Let's open it up. Questions. Got hit with a lot of stuff today. Been taking notes. I see you've been taking notes. What are some of the questions that you have? Ideas. Yes.
My question is, like, what's the one most important takeaway that every individual got from their investment of time and resources today?
It's a great question. Who would like to share? Yes, Karen.
I need to understand my business better. I really need to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Say that
And it
again.
isn't-
That's significant.
I need to understand my business better, what it is and why I'm doing it. It isn't about saving people $1 on gas or electricity. That really isn't what it's about. I mean, it needs to be more than that. It needs to be more than that. And so I really need to clarify for myself internally so that then I can act on that in a more strategic and intentional way and make it be of value for others as well as myself.
Right. Wow. That's outstanding. Who else? What's the most valuable?
Yeah, I say the same thing based on what Mark said, is knowing what you do and how you make profit, and then stay focused on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was very clear.
Powerful.
Yeah, I do too many things that don't do that.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
Yes.
People buy on emotion, they justify with logic, they also buy insights, and the more value that you bring to others, the more it comes back to you in your business.
Wow. Any other one want to share? Yes, Teresa.
I think just going back to what Peter said, knowing your story, who you are, and how you can connect with other people, and then being more intentional in business.
Yeah, the story is such a vital part because people can see who you are as a person, because we're all people. And my tendency, at least, is to look at a customer as an entity that has deep pockets that can buy things from me, instead of looking at them as an individual that wants to have a relationship with another individual. So the story is just huge. Being able to relate to somebody and then do them good as well as yourself.
Ed's comment on going beyond what it is, beyond your business. So it's not just about your business, it's going beyond and meeting somebody's need that may not have anything to do with your business, but may come back to your business in the future.
Right. Good point. What else? Yes, Mark.
One of the things that you said, Kevin, about the next dimension principle, I pay a lot of attention to personalities. I pay a lot of attention to where the opportunities may lie now or in the future, or the opportunities may lie for one of my colleagues here in the room. I never really considered assessing their situation from a next dimension principle to see and consider what level of understanding of that product or problem they may have at that moment. And so, you know, they may need a cheerleader to encourage them to follow up on that. Hey, you know what, it's, I know somebody who needed a furnace. I've got a furnace guy, it's a great price. I should have been a cheerleader for the woman who needed a furnace. Hey, you know what, it's only August now, you know you're going to need a new furnace. Why don't you go ahead and give this guy a call? You know, it's going to be great for you. You're going to be able to do such a good job, save so much money by doing it now. You're not going to have a day where you're out of heat. Cheerleader for her. I didn't. I told her, and I left it, right? Now, there's an opportunity, potentially, for her to be buying or investing in real estate later. But I was unable to provide that bargain for the furnace until one day she called me and said, hey, Mark, my furnace is out. Who should I call? Well, here's the guy's number. Name is Trevor. Ring him up, you know. And, you know, Trevor, you know, it turned out to not really work out at that timing for Trevor and her because of his large set of calls for no heat, right? So she sat without heat for however many hours she sat because I didn't recognize at what dimension she was early on. you know. There's another young man I now consider, the thermostat in his car doesn't work. And so every time I see him, he's complaining about the cold in his car. Right? And there's some opportunities for different things there. I should really probably be pressing him, get that fixed, because it's not just about the heat in your car. Because I should be considering what dimension I need to touch him at. So I never considered that before. I'm gonna put that into play with what I do.
Right, because at some point, it's like, listen, I encourage you to go get it done. I told you who to get it done with, so now if you're a cheerleader with somebody and they're not moving on, we need to teach them. Well, you know, you do need to call this person. I told you that, right? And they're gonna take care of it, right? Well, okay, so here's how you do it. I mean, this is the guy that's gonna make sure, because you keep talking about that, and if he keeps doing that, then you can go to Navy SEAL. Seriously? Are you that pathetic you can't listen to what I told you to do? And some people are like, what? I'm like, and then you can like, hey, listen, man, I care about what you're doing here, but do you just like cold and like complaining about it? Because that's okay. I'll just leave you alone. Otherwise, we can make this thing happen. So what is it going to be? Oh, yeah, what's the guy's number now? Sometimes it's kind of hard sometimes for people, but you're like, listen, is that what you really wanted? Because the truth hurts
right.
sometimes with people.
And the opportunity then,
I have like two questions. I'm one of those slower people, so I struggle with understanding things real well. And so, like, all these things that people said, like in another 30 days when we come back, did people write down, like, are they concrete? That's my first question. Is this stuff concrete to where they're gonna actually go home today, do something, and then be able to come back next month and say, I've done it? So that's my first question. I just didn't hear that, but again, I'm one of those slower people.
We did it at the beginning.
Right.
That's okay.
And then the other question is, I don't know if you found, but I found that often the people who have the least to say, like the ones that don't speak up, sometimes you have to entice them, draw them out. They often see the most significant things, but they won't say it. And so I don't know if you found that true with this group or not.
Yeah, so what would you suggest we do?
A lot of times I just call on people, I just say, hey, what did you learn? I mean, I don't know, that's just, again, I'm one of those slower people, so.
Joe, what did you learn today?
He's not one of the slower people. He's trying to draw me out.
Yeah, you do that.
See right through you. There's so much. I think I'm a slow. I think there's like the one thing that just kind of jumped off with contacts and referrals with me is in creating a database, I'm thinking about who qualifies, because I'm meeting hundreds of people a day. I'm getting cards. I have plenty. Anyone who has Google has a name of someone who does a furnace or something like that. It's the experience and what way to grade them or rate them with stars in my database to go, oh, I've got 5 guys who do a furnace. One did my furnace, and not only did he throw in an extra day because he had a bad part or something. It's like when it comes to referring somebody, there's an authenticity or there's a quality or there's an experience that I really want to put behind it. And so I'm thinking, so it's creating the database, but then that I don't want to just refer a guy who I just met just because I have his card and I want to impress him. I want him to do a good job because it reflects on me.
Right. So in the 530 grid, you've identified targets, and now what's the second box? What does it say?
Develop and deliver a message.
Okay, so you're going to have an opportunity to deliver and deliver a message to that person specifically and track 100% of those. And the person that can help you do that is an EVA. You can do it yourself for a while if it works, but is it? You ask yourself the question with that person, what's their personality? Where am I at the process with that person, right? And what message would help them the most? I mean, did they need to have a story behind who you're referring, or do they need? What are you thinking?
For me, it even goes back to that database. How big is it and who's in it?
Okay.
I mean, that's as simple of, the simplest level. And then, of course, taken away from the whole story is the, how did you put it? The moments in life,
Defining
those
moments.
defining moments. And I even, when you mentioned that, something sparked in me that some people haven't had that yet. And actually, I would really enjoy giving somebody a defining moment, a moment of clarification in a really confused world with so many mixed messages coming from things that might have been simpler 50 years ago. You know, he works for Sears. Sears is going to be around forever, or something, and things have changed completely.
Yeah.
You know, and God we trust is always on the money. Now it's not. It's like things have totally shifted, and there's a lot of confused people, and that's why I'm, you know, defining my message.
Like, I wonder if a buddy system might work for you. Like, if you buddied up with 2 or 3 other people, they might be able to sort through some of those really good questions. Like, I wonder what the other 4 people learned.
The other 4 people in the room?
What did you learn today?
Me?
Yes.
Well, like you had mentioned sharing your story, and I actually have a story myself, and I've told my story to hundreds of people in hopes that I can get motivation and I can get success in hearing what people overcome. And because I know that for me, I had a bunch of doctors tell me, no, you're never gonna walk again. And it was no, 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 no. And what I learned was nobody can tell me what I can and can't do, because I am walking today. And it's a miracle in itself and a success story. And so that's a little bit of my story.
Wow.
But just sharing it helps me because I've heard so many stories myself. When I share my story, other people open up and then they tell me theirs. And then it gives me motivation and openness and helps me to move forward in my life. And that's what I've learned today.
Cool. Thank you. What have you learned today?
I need to get organized. I'm all over the place as far as tracking contacts, leads, clients. And I'd get a lot more out of it if I had a process in place.
Wow. Rosanna, what did you learn today?
Oh, I shared it
Oh, I know.
already. Well, I learned that maybe it's a good idea if I fill this thing out, because this actually gives me direction into
Great.
accomplishing the next 30 days. And so I already figured out all 3 questions and wrote them down so that I can help myself accomplish it.
See, that's huge. That's huge. And we can all do that. So sometime today, before you leave, but it's got to be sometime today, or else you're going to forget. It's not going to be as powerful, and you're not going to do it. Question 1, from the 7 segments presented today, what specific action will I take over the next 30 days which will help me to overcome my biggest challenge? Write it down. We're going to do it right now. And again, the 7 segments were speed networking, wins and biggest challenges, personality masteries, the 530 grid, natural laws. Maybe it's from the Q&A. Mr. Eve, what did you learn today?
That I have to learn the system. One thing I'd like to mention, I just read about, or heard about, a man who was 5'9", and he was a very good dunker at basketball. And somebody asked, well, how the heck do you ever do that? You're only 5'9". He said, because nobody told me I couldn't.
Powerful. Sandy, what value did you take out of here today?
To always have the bridge open to all your clients. And whenever you think of one, give them a call to start with and say, I've been thinking about you. I was wondering what's up with you today because you came across my heart and mind, so can we talk a minute? And then the other thing is to, sometimes it takes a little while, because I'm kind of impatient, to get that person across the bridge. And everybody's at a different point in that bridge back and forth, that relationship, but to keep very steady with that. So I'm going to call all my clients over the next 2 weeks.
Excellent. We want to hear a report when we get back together. Teresa, what was the value you pulled out today?
I already shared as well, but working on my story and intentionality in my business.
Okay. Mark, what value did you pull out? I know you shared some. Any other thoughts?
The presentations here today and the stories of the other people as they were doing the speed networking, I suppose impacted me most because I was, once again, tardy to this meeting. And somebody talked about maybe if you partner up and buddy up, and I know I was talking with Amy about doing something like that.
Cool.
So my action will be to follow through with that because Amy may know better about the tasks I'm doing and what amount of time they take so that I can better schedule them and delegate the things that I don't need to do out to somebody else.
Great. That's great. So question 2 on the card here is, who are some interesting people I met through speed networking who I should connect with this month to determine if my products and services are able to assist them in better addressing their biggest challenges? Did everybody give their cards out? Did everybody get a card that wanted to? Do that before you leave. That's important. And then who are the 3 mastermind partners I will connect with at least once a week via phone? This is a great idea, Mark. Calling Amy. Who are we all going to connect with? And who are the 3 mastermind partners I will connect with at least once a week via phone or email to see how we're progressing on following through on what we said we were going to do? So identify those people. Because next time we're going to be talking about fine-tuning our profitable systems. If we don't understand people, if we don't understand our business, if we don't understand the natural laws, and we don't know how to attract profitable clients, how are we going to even fine-tune? Like sometimes it's just learning the system, right? So next time it's going to be about fine-tuning our profitable systems. So the best thing you could do is invite somebody next time. Really, really proud of Karen for inviting 2 people here. Good job.
I invited more, only 2 came.
Well, that's the point. That's another natural law, right? Right? Okay, any other questions? Well, thank you for taking your valuable time. We've concluded this section. The good news is that we have a bonus section coming up. So if you can hang around, we're going to start that pretty soon. Take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll get right back to it, okay? Thanks for coming.